Lifestyle. Let's talk about lifestyle. Let's assume as we shift that we know our arterial age. We've done our carotid ultrasound. We've done our calcium score. We've done our gene testing to give us some insight if we want to. We've done our advanced blood work. Maybe we did a WatchPat1 home sleep study, which at my clinic is a routine test. Maybe we've explored total body or brain MRI and brain age. But what can we do right this minute? Lifestyle. So those Harvard School of Public Health looked at over 118,000 men and women, followed for about 34 years for the women and 28 years for the men, to look at what predicts extra life, usually a pretty good health span part of life too. And what they found is, let's take age 50 as an example. If you could say at age 50, I eat a healthier diet than the average American, the definition was just a diet in the top 40% of the health scale. So there's going to be a lot of fruits and vegetables, grains and legumes, but it didn't have to be completely plant-based. It can be. You exercise 30 minutes or more a day. I got mine in this morning. You maintain a healthy body weight using what's usually called a healthy body mass index of 18 to 25. You're allowed to drink, according to the Harvard study, but not too much. No more than 1 glass of wine a day for a woman, 2 for a man. You might say that's a lot, and you don't need to, and I never recommend drinking, but that's the Harvard data. And you don't smoke. Well, if you can say at age 50, I do 5 of 5 health habits, you have an extra 12 to 14 years of life predicted compared to people that ignore the 5 steps that Harvard identified. Now, there were many other factors, but these were the 5 most powerful steps that they measured. What about more recent data in 2022? What are the top foods for life expectancy? Well, GBD is Global Burden of Disease. It's the name of a massive research program funded by the Gates Foundation all over the world, 190 countries, 3,000 researchers, a lot of data, big data on a lot of people, including what they eat and how long they live. In the paper that was published, Estimating Impact of Food Choices on Life Expectancy, a modeling study. So they took the data from 2019. They looked at foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, refined grains, nuts, legumes, fish, egg, milk, dairy, red meat, processed meat, and sugar-sweetened beverages. A sustained dietary change may give a substantial health gain for people of all ages, both for optimized and feasible. Optimized is if you do it really well. Feasible is if you make some small changes. The gains are predicted to be larger the earlier the dietary changes are initiated in life. I adopted a whole food, plant, vegan diet at age 18. That's 45 years ago. It's worked out very well. I'm glad I did it at 18, and I'm glad I didn't do it at 58 years old, but that would have been a good choice too. The longer, the better. So what did they find in the Global Burden of Disease modeling study? The largest gain would be made by eating more legumes. Oh my God, there's books written that legumes are dangerous. That's not what the GBD study found. You can add a couple years to your life by eating more beans, peas, and lentils. How about whole grains? That was number 2 in the statistical analysis. Add a couple years to your life by eating more whole grains. And finally, nuts. Nuts add longevity. Not the first time it's been published, but confirmed again by this massive tens of millions of patient points in the GBD study. What do you want to eat less of? The 2 most important ones to eat less of were red meat and processed red meat. You might lose 1.5 to 2 years by regularly eating red meat or processed red meat, and you'll gain them if you quit or cut back significantly. If you look over to the optimal diet on the left, this is still from the GBD Global Burden of Disease study. You can see the first 3 most impactful choices are legumes, whole grains, and nuts. They add years to your expected lifespan, while red meat, processed meat, followed by sugar-sweetened beverages, refined grains, and eggs reduce your longevity. So important data to consider. Let's talk about the blue zones as a lifestyle option for longevity, health span, lifespan. Where do people live the longest? The top 5 countries by average life expectancy. And if you go to the bottom of the sides, The blue zones contain the highest concentration of people who are active past the age of 100, like Jean Columnist, although she did not live in a typical blue zone. And if you go over Okinawa, Japan, then you go to the Mediterranean, two places, Sardinia, Italy, in Icaria, Greece. People pronounce it both ways. And if you go over to the left, Loma Linda, California, the home of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and a peninsula on the Pacific of Costa Rica called the Nicoya Peninsula. So these 5 areas have become very famous. People have studied what's different here. Why are there so many 105-year-olds that are still walking up a hill pulling fresh vegetables? And that's two of the tips. They were walking up a hill and they were pulling fresh vegetables and they were outside. So when these were analyzed, the blue zones came up with 9 principles of long life. We can copy. We'll go from the left to the right. Downshift, reduce stress. Find something to reduce stress. Number 2, have purpose in life. Wake up each day with something to do. Don't get bored. Don't be retired and not have some commitment to volunteering or family or grandkids or education. Plants land. Less meat, more plants. We know that. Then wine at 5. Enjoy a glass a day with friends if you want to, not if you have a problem, not if you don't want to. And it doesn't say enjoy a bottle. Family first and spend time with your family can add 6 years to your life. 80% rule comes from Okinawa. It's called Harihachibu, but it's eating to your 80% full, then stopping, mindful eating, chewing slowly around a family table, friends. Move naturally, find ways to move more, like my exercise treadmill desk I'm on right now. You'll burn calories without thinking about it. The right tribe, surround yourself with people who support positive behaviors. If you're struggling with smoking, you've got to exit your friends who are smokers, or it's going to be very difficult. And finally, belong to a faith-based community, attend services, can add 4 to 14 years to your lifespan, according to the Blue Zones analysis. This is more from the Blue Zones, where they looked at 3 areas that had the most divergent diets. Loma Linda diet wasn't like Okinawa diet, wasn't like Sardinia, Italy diet. But if you look in the middle, what did they all have in common? A focus on family, a focus on not smoking, a focus on plant-based diets, a focus on constant moderate physical activity, a focus on being socially engaged with friends and family or work, and finally, legumes. There's our friends again. Legumes, beans, peas, lentils were found in all these 3 very different communities. If you just look around, you can see in Sardinia, they eat a lot of fava beans and they drink Canada wine high in polyphenols. If you look at Okinawa, they love turmeric. They're likable people and they're not in a rush. And Loma Linda is famous for its nuts and healthy social circle of a community of Seventh-day Adventists. What about legumes? We've mentioned them over and over. If you look at the bottom, this is research from 2004, looking to identify in Japan, Sweden, Greece, and Australia, the number 1 predicted food group for longevity, 785 people over age 70, dietary record, 7 years of follow-up. The legume food group showed a 7 to 8% reduction in death, mortality, for every 20-gram increase in daily intake, with or without controlling for ethnicity. That was the number 1 most powerful food choice, is did I have a bean salad today? Did I have a lentil loaf, a lentil soup? Did I have some peas in my rice or peas in my risotto or peas in my vegetable soup, or throw them in a salad? Legumes win the day. And there was a book written in 2017 called The Plant Paradox by medical doctor Stephen Gundry, and it's nothing but misinformation. There's a term we use a lot now. All right, let's talk about fitness. You ready for fitness? Simple fitness tests and longevity, specifically what we're talking about. So without a doubt, treadmill testing, treadmill time, exercise fitness is a predictor of mortality or survival over and over. And this is just one study in the famous New England Journal of Medicine of over 6,200 men referred for a treadmill exercise test for a variety of reasons, followed over 6 years, see what happened. And the peak exercise capacity measured in something that shows up on a treadmill report called MET level or MET level, But your exercise fitness capacity was the strongest predictor of the risk of death among both normal subjects and those with heart disease. Higher fitness, lower death. Lower fitness, higher death rates. Let's just look in the upper left for a minute. Normal subjects, percentage surviving over time. And you can see if they had a fitness level greater than 8 METs, they had a much better survival than if they had a fitness level less than 5 METs. Just a way of describing fitness. I mean, how fast can you walk? How fast can you climb stairs? How well can you do in the neighborhood without getting short of breath when the hill comes, when you got to carry a grocery bag? How fit are you? And you probably have some sense, but more fitness is better. What about other unique ways of assessing your fitness and survival? How about push-ups? Well, it turns out the Harvard School of Public Health looked at 1,104 firefighters, active adult men. They did a variety of exams on them, and they followed them up over 10 years for heart risk. They identified that everybody was asked to do as many push-ups as they could within, I believe it was a minute. Those that could do 40 push-ups or more within a minute had an amazing 99% reduction in the chance of developing heart disease during those 10 years compared to those that could do less than 10 push-ups. Push-ups are no cost, fast, and a simple measure to assess your fitness capacity. So if you look at this, look at the box to the left. More than 41 is sort of a gray color. 0 to 10 push-ups is the black line. The chance of surviving the black line, those firefighters that could only do 10 or less push-ups, is considerably more disturbing than the rest of the group that could do better. And it really is like a dose. If you can get to 40 or more push-ups in a minute, you have done something very good to test your own fitness. You can even do it on a kitchen counter, on an incline, and push up against the counter. It costs nothing. How fast can you fly or climb, fly up or climb 4 flights of stairs? It may reveal your heart health. Different study. Researchers say how quickly a person can walk up 4 flights of stairs may be an indicator of their heart health. Participants who climbed the stairs in less than 45 seconds achieved a very good fitness level as if they had done a formal exercise stress test in a cardiologist's office or a hospital. They also say there are other tasks, such as carrying a bag of groceries to a car, that can be used as a gauge of heart health. But I'm in a medical building. We only have 2 flights of stairs, so I'm challenged to do this. But I go up them and down them regularly. And, you can go up and down, although this is straight up 4 flights of stairs, assuming you can do it, and see if you can do it in 45 seconds, or do it at any pace you can. Don't hurt yourself. Here's another interesting one, squats and survival, a 3-minute test of cardiorespiratory fitness, 30 squats in 45 seconds. They took adults between age 18 and 64, men and women. The best predictors were what happened to their heart rate, but the squat test is used as another way to assess what kind of shape are you in. I do 40 squats every morning. And finally, another quick fitness tip. Some of you may have heard of what's often considered a yoga flow, the 5 Tibetan rites of longevity. And there are many books. This is just one that you can read, or videos you can watch, or articles, including one I wrote about why I do this yoga flow every morning. It takes about 9 minutes. But there is this hidden belief that it also has ancient anti-aging longevity secrets, including keeping your hair dark. I don't verify any of that. I've just read these books. And you can study this at home, the 5 Tibetan rites. Step 1, you circle around clockwise 21 times if you can manage to do that. I used to get dizzy. My brain has gotten very used to this. I no longer get even the slightest dizziness. Number 2 is you're doing like a pike with your legs 21 times. Number 3 is a back bend 21 times. Number 4 is a front bend 21 times. And number 5 is sort of, again, a downward dog to an upward dog yoga position 21 times, although you might start doing it 3 times and work your way up. It's if you have the back and the core capacity, it's a wonderful ritual to do every day. There actually is a 6th Tibetan rite involving breathing practices that's been added on.